Climate change is the most significant challenge to achieve sustainable development. World leaders, environmental activists declare that it is necessary to take action to face it and stop atmosphere pollution and reduce carbon dioxide emissions. The European Union has set itself targets for reducing its greenhouse gases emissions up to 2050. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, is the United Nations body for assessing the science related to climate change. Limiting global warming will require major transitions in the energy sector. This will involve a substantial reduction in fossil fuel use, widespread electrification, improved energy efficiency, and use of alternative fuels such as hydrogen. Without immediate and deep emissions reductions across all sectors, limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees is beyond reach. Warming beyond 2 degrees would potentially lead to rates of sea level rise dominated by ice loss from Antarctica. Future changes in precipitations are expected to follow existing trends, with reduced precipitation over subtropical land areas, causing desertification and increased precipitation at subpolar latitudes and some equatorial regions. Ecosystem will change. Some species will move farther north or become more successful. Others won't be able to move and could become extinct. Species that depend on one another may become out of sync. Climate change is a major threat to agriculture. The toll that climate change takes on agriculture is nearly incalculable, and as a result, our food security is at risk. Warmer, polluted air affects our health, increasing chemical reactions that form smoke. Climate refugees are people who must leave their homes and communities because of the effects of climate change and global warming. To face climate change, we can adopt two kinds of approach. With mitigation, we mean human intervention to reduce the sources of enhancement of greenhouse gases. With adaptation, we mean the process of adjustment to actual or expected climate and its effect. In human systems, adaptation seeks to moderate or avoid, harm or exploit beneficial opportunities. In some natural systems, human intervention may facilitate adjustment to expected climate and its effects. These interactions are the basis of emerging risks from climate change, ecosystem degradation and biodiversity loss, and at the same time offer opportunities for the future. Confidence levels reflect uncertainty in attribution of the observed impact to climate change. Global assessments focus on large studies, multi-species, meta-analyses, and large reviews. For that reason, they can be assessed with higher confidence than regional studies, which may often rely on smaller studies that have more limited data. In the period between 1980 to 2010, Europe lost 300 billion due to storms, landslide, mud flows. Building represents the 35% of the Europeans' carbon dioxide emissions and the 30% of energy consumption. In the same period, European Union had 75,000 deaths due to heat waves. That corresponds to the 67% of all deaths from natural disasters. In 2012, the air pollution, especially the fine particles in the air, caused 4 million of premature deaths in worldwide. In the periods between 2011 to 2020, it cost up to 50 billion a year. It means that today, the 20% of urban drinking water is polluted and that the emissions from drained peatlands represent the 5% of total global anthropogenic greenhouse gases emissions. The Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, also known as the Global Goals, were adopted to the United Nations in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030 all the people enjoy peace and prosperity. The 17 SDGs are integrated and recognize that action in one area will affect outcomes in others, and that development must balance social, economic, and environmental sustainability. In particular, we are focusing on the following SDGs. The goal number 11 is making cities sustainable and means creating career and business opportunities, safe and affordable housing, and building resilient societies and economies. It involves investment in public transport, creating green public spaces, and improving urban planning and management in participatory and inclusive ways. The other goal that is very important is the goal number 13. The goal aims to mobilize billions annually by 2020 to address the needs of developing countries to both adapt to climate change and invest in low-carbon development. The goal 50 aims to take urgent action to reduce the loss of natural habits and biodiversity, which are part of our common heritage, and support global food and water security, climate change mitigation, and adaptation. The use of green in urban spaces has always had multiple functions as symbolic, aesthetic, regulation of the microclimate, and productive. Green spaces so represents an opportunity to store carbon dioxide, but at the same time, planting requires space not always available in dense urban areas. So what comes to your mind when you think to nature within urban areas? And when you think about green envelopes or nature-based solutions? Do you consider yourself as one of the living organisms within a city? Cities are dense, heterogeneous, fragmented mix of habitat where non-living components like buildings or grey infrastructure and living components like animals, plants, microbiota, and humans coexist. To maximize and optimize this co-living, a multi-stakeholder approach to urban planning and nature-based solutions development is needed. This could change your perspective and way of thinking, making our cities more biodiverse, resilient, and sustainable. An adequate urban planning can support human living and well-being through the natural capital and related ecosystem services. That means all the benefits that nature provides to humans. However, the wrong choice of plant species can result in ecosystem disservices, resulting in allergies, poisoning, or organic volatile compound emission. Improving biodiversity at the urban scale is not a simple matter of rules or nature addings, but a more complex approach. A plan or an artificial ecosystems where living components are related and equally taken into account in urban planning, and at the same time where non-living components can support and promote the establishment of a more biodiverse natural component. The European Commission defines nature-based solutions as solutions that are inspired and supported by nature, which are cost-effective, simultaneously provide environmental, social, and economic benefits, and help build resilience. Such solutions bring more and more diverse nature and natural features and processes into cities, landscapes, and seascapes, through locally adapted, resources-efficient, and systemic interventions. There are many types of nature-based solutions, all able to provide many ecosystem services. Some have more specific use, in particular those in urban areas, with the main purpose of retaining the fine dust, improving air quality, managing rainwater, and mitigating the microclimate. NBS integrated into buildings such as green roofs, green facades, and living walls, in addition to providing ecosystem services, improve the energy performance of the building by reducing the solar thermal load during the summer season. It is possible to make a strong contribution to increasing biodiversity by using groups of trees, orchards, meadows, having large areas available. These, in fact, attract many pollinating insects whose function is fundamental for regulation of the reproduction processes of plants. NBS, called as sustainable drainage systems, SUDS, are more specifically used to manage rainwater, absorbing, retaining it, and filtering polluted water, then returning it into natural cycles or to disposal systems. Among these, we remember the rain garden, the permeable pavements, the infiltration basin, and the swales. IMS Green Facade is a pilot project built in the city of Genova in 2014. The results derives from the monitoring activities, as fine dust retaining capacity, temperature reduction in summer, and impacts on entire life of green facade in relation to obtainable environmental and microclimate benefits through an LCA assessment and economic sustainability, thanks to a cost-benefit analysis. Moskin is a low-cost, low-maintenance, versatile, and lightweight systems with interesting performances in terms of water management and surface temperature reduction, developed to address the problem of the lack of greening in densely urbanized areas. Several moss species have been sampled in the wild, selected based on their ability to tolerate the abiotic stresses of urban environments. A modular multi-layer panel with a built-in irrigation system has been developed, designed, and tested. The Rain Garden in Campo Morone is a pilot project developed by Interreg Maritime Italy-France program and made to analyze the performances of a rain garden in a Mediterranean climate, characterized by periods of heavy rain and periods of drought, and evaluating the ability to delay the release of rainwater to the disposal system during the most intense rainy events. So direct experiences, citizen involvement, and students' training and interactive teaching methodologies should be used to make nature closer at the urban level. Change your way to look at nature can change your mind. This is a key aspect to be taken into account to develop interdisciplinary, practical, and interactive approach. To this aim, fieldwork and field experiences will train students, providing the unique opportunity to look at plant shape, properties, smell, color, assemblage, pros and cons for a more conscious approach to the plant component in relation with the other biotic and abiotic components.